Young Dongqian. Young Dongqian died 935, courtesy name Zhaoxuan, was an official of the Southern Han dynasty of China, serving as a chancellor. Background. It is not known when Young Dongqian was born. His ancestors had been town officials, with his great-great-grandfather Yong Hu serving as the governor of Suaning Commandery Chinese Atolita in modern Suaning, Sichuan, and thus being datable to the reign of Emperor Xuanzong of Tang, during whose reign for some time Tang prefectures were known as commanderies from 742 to 757. Yon Dongqian's great-grandfather Yon Hu's son Yon Mayan moved from the south of the Nanling Mountains to Shixing and made his home there. Neither Yon Dongqian's grandfather Yon Chui and father Yong Jian were recorded to be in official service, but both were said to be honest and virtuous. Young Dongqian himself was said to be studious in his youth, open-minded, and understanding of principles of governance. At one point, he became a surveillance officer for Yon District Chinese Atolita headquartered in modern Nanning, Guangxi, then still under Tang dynasty rule. After the end of his term of service, he went to live in Guang Prefecture Chinese Atolita in modern Guangzhou, Guangdong. Service under Liu Yin and Liu Yan prior to Southern Han's founding. At one point, Yon Dongqian was retained to serve on the staff of the warlord Liu Yin, who then controlled the region as the military governor Jidashi of Qinghai Circuit Chinese Atolita headquartered at Guang Prefecture. Liu Yin honoured Yon Dongqian as a teacher for himself, and also had Yong serve as his secretary in his role as military governor of Qinghai and Jinhui Chinese Atolita, converted from Yong district circuits. He was said to be Liu Yin's chief strategist in planning the seizure of Ningyuan Circuit Chinese Atolita headquartered in modern Yulin, Guangxi, which eventually happened in 911 after Liu Yin's death from Liu Yin's northern neighbour, Mo Yin, the Prince of Chu. Tangs having fallen by that point, both Liu Yin and Mo were nominal vassals of later Liang. In 911, Liu Yin died and was succeeded by his brother Liu Yan. Yong continued to serve Liu Yan, and he suggested to Liu Yan that he should not commission army officers as prefectural prefects. Rather, Yon advocated that he select refugees from the Central Plains who were well learned, first putting them on his staff to test them and then make them prefects so that they could govern the prefectures well and benefit the people. Liu Yan agreed. Also in 911, Liu Yanqing, the warlord who controlled the Kayan Prefecture Chinese Atolita in modern Ganju, Jiangsu region, was killed by his officer Lai Ku, who subsequently died and was succeeded by his officer Lai Yandu. At Yong's suggestion, Liu Yan attacked Shao Prefecture Chinese Atolita in modern Xiaogyuan, Guangdong, which was then under control of Lai. Liu's army defeated the garrison there, and Shao's prefect Lai Zhaoxuan fled to Chu, allowing Liu to take over Shao. Yong subsequently also provided strategic opinions that helped Liu to repel the attempts by Ma to retake Ningyuan, allowing Liu to retain the lands of the original 5 districts originally belonging to Qinghai's predecessor circuit, Lingnan Circuit. For Yong's contributions, they made him the deputy military governor. After later, Liang's Emperor Taizu sent the emissary Wai Jian to try to intercede in the conflict between his 2 vassals Liu and Mo in 912. Yong advocated entering into a marital alliance with Mo in order to settle the 2 realms' differences. Liu agreed, and in 913 asked Mo for permission to marry one of his daughters. Mo agreed. The marriage was eventually carried out in 915, during Liu Yan's reign. In 917, Liu Yan declared himself emperor of a new state of Yu, later changed to Han, and therefore historically known as Southern Han as its Emperor Gaozu. He was about to name Yon Dongqian the chancellor with the designation Tong Zhongqu Mengzi Pingjiangqi and Minister of Defense Chinese Pingbi Shangqu, but Yon, believing that he should not be honored above another chancellor candidate, Zhao Guani, who had been a later Liang emissary and whose brother Zhao Guanfeng was a chancellor to later Liang, offered to be subordinate to Zhao. Liu agreed, and while he named Zhao, Yon, and another later Liang emissary, Lai Yinheng, all as chancellors, Zhao received the greater secondary office of Minister of Defense, while Yon was given the secondary office of Deputy Minister of Defense Chinese Bingbu Shilong. In 920, Yon made the proposal to build schools to generally teach the people about the proper rights and to restore imperial examinations that had been a major part of the Tang civil service system. Liu agreed. However, several suggestions that Yon made to Liu fell on deaf ears. For example, when Liu built watery prisons to torture prisoners, Yon urged against it to no avail. Further, around 934, Liu had his oldest son Liu Hongdu, the prince of Qin, conscript a group of 1,000 soldiers to serve as his guards, but Liu Hongdu selected many hoodlums who behaved poorly and became close to them. Yon, finding the situation untenable, went to speak to Liu Yan. However, Liu Yan responded, "This is just for my son to teach them about war. I am sorry this is overly concerning you, Lord." He made no attempts to curb Liu Hongdu's behaviour. Once Yon exited the palace, he saw Liu Hongdu's guards robbing gold and silk from merchants, but the merchants did not dare to make reports against them. He lamented and stated, "If the governance has become this troubled, what use is there for a chancellor?" He therefore claimed an illness and returned to his mansion. He was there for quite some time without Li Yan ever making an attempt to summon him again. He died at home in 935. Notes and references. Spring and Autumn Annals of the Ten Kingdoms, Volume 62. Book of Southern Han, Volume 9. Dongqian Vols 270, 271, 279. Category 9th century births. Category 935. Deaths. Category year of birth unknown. Category politicians from Xiaogun. Category Tang Dynasty politicians from Guangdong. Category later Liang 5 dynasties politicians. Category Southern Han chancellors. Category Southern Han people born during Tang.